Hey, hi, hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Shannon. How you doing? Nice to meet you. I hope you're doing so very well. Today I have for you my April wrap up and my May TBR. Is that right? I think so. So if you're interested in knowing what I read in April and what I plan to read in May, then stick around for this video and you will see the mayhem that TBR Tarot causes for the month of May.
Pick it up from the top, hit restart. So far it's been so hard to live, but lately something in me changed. Let it go.
One of my cards last month was to read a hard-hitting book, and for this I went with My Sister the Serial Killer. I did read this. This was a reread for me. I gave it a 4 stars. I enjoyed the story so much more reading it physically as the first time I listened to this on audiobook. I think this book is really well done, and after going to the event Granite Noir and hearing the author talk, I just felt like I had a more inside knowledge of this book and the characters and what it took to write this, because it was originally a novella that got changed into novel length, and rereading it with renewed interest and intrigue just it upped my enjoyment of it, and also because I got to read it physically I think I enjoyed it a lot more. So I gave this a 4 stars upon reread and was glad that I got to this. This also counts as 2 points for my TBR tarot tally, and I believe, and that brings me up to 13 points. I'm getting so close to that 20 points. If you do not know, I'm on a semi book buying ban. So I'm on a book buying ban, but I have allowed myself to buy books for a specific reason. If there is an event like Granite Noir where I could get signed editions, then I'm not going to pass up that opportunity. I'm allowed to buy Kindle books because the whole reason I'm on a book buying ban is because I have no more room on my shelves, and I've been buying books for like projects for videos, so I'm on a semi book buying ban, and once I hit 20 points in my game I get to have a book haul with no guilt because it will be game approved, and it means that I've read a certain amount in order to allow myself to like reward myself for reading my TBRs. So I'm getting so close. The next card prompt that I pulled was to read a standalone, and I get bonus points if it was mystery thriller. I picked She and I by Hannah King, and can I just say I gave this a 4 star. I loved it, and this was also an author that I got to listen to at Granite Noir, and I'm so glad that I did because this story was really well done. I will definitely be picking more up from this author based on this read, and I felt so connected with the friendship and the loyalty in this book. It came across so well. This follows 2 best friends, Jude and Keely, and their friendship, the way that it was written, was such a high point in this book for me. There was issues that I had with this book, but the characters outshined the problems, and some of the language that was used rubbed me the wrong way, but apart from that, I highly recommend this book and really enjoyed it. It was so well done. After reading She and I now have to add an extra 2 points onto my tally because I managed to hit both prompts, and I am now up to 15 points. So close. And the next card that I pulled for the month of April was to phone a friend, and I enticed Seffi over at What Effie Reads to pick a book for my TBR, and they gave me a few options. I decided to go with Gallant because this was the most anticipated for me. I gave this a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I love V. Schwab's writing. I don't think there will ever be a time I don't enjoy Schwab's writing. This was a fun, fantastical story that followed an orphan, and like I just felt like it was really well done. I wish it was a little bit darker and we got to spend a little more time in the dark portion of this story, but apart from that, this was a V. Schwab book that was great. So like I can't complain. I read this in a day, which is the first book I've read in a day in a while, and I just kind of like reinvigorated my love of reading, and I forgot how good it is to just settle down and read for a day. And I'm glad I picked this book to do it because it definitely held my interest, and yeah, like 4.5 stars. I loved this and I highly recommend it if you're looking for a fantasy, creepy kind of story that's got heart. After this, reading this, I get to add a point to my tally, which brings me up to 16. I'm so close. And the last card I pulled for the month of April was to read a top priority, and I put Falls Boys by Penelope Douglas for this, but I didn't get to it, so I failed this month's TBR, but I'm okay with it because I did read other things and I had the magical readathon also, so I wanted to vlog my experience with this, which is why I didn't pick it up, because there's just not enough hours in the day and I didn't have time to vlog, so I didn't want to read it until I had time to vlog it. So yeah, I dropped the ball on this one, but I also read a lot more other than my TBR. So a few things I read outside of my TBR was I read 2 short stories for 2 prompts for the magical readathon. I read Breaking the Bully and The Lady's Loner, The Loner's Lady, both by Jessica Cain. These are short novellas, and I gave Breaking the Bully 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was an emotional story about a young girl who didn't have the best home life and was told to leave a certain boy alone, and when he finds out what is actually happening in her life, he comes and helps her out of a bad situation. This was really intense and hard-hitting, a lot more hard-hitting than I thought it would be, considering it's a short story. I kind of struggled with this because I gave Breaking the Bully a 4 stars, but The Lady's Loner, The Loner's Lady, I gave a 2 star. I just think that there was some things in this book that I didn't think fit well. Like, it was very insta-love, which obviously comes along with doing like a short story or a novella, but it was just too insta-love. It was like page 5 and they're like, they're my world, and I'm just like, no, this ain't it, sis. But I do plan on picking up more from this author, and I do think that there will be hits and misses along the way, but it was interesting, and I'm glad that I found another author that writes kind of short stories and novellas that I can dip in and out on, because I don't know, like, I'm not really one for short stories or novellas, but now I've started to like search them out and find more that are my cup of tea and take my interest. So starting with these 2 was interesting because they were at 2 opposite ends of the spectrum, but I am glad that I picked them up nonetheless. The next thing I read outside of my TBR was The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. I gave this a 3 stars. I did enjoy this for what it was. It's more of a mystery than a thriller. We follow a woman who goes on a boat, a very bougie boat, and someone ends up going overboard, and she is trying to get to the bottom of who and why someone went overboard and why no one believes her. It's more of a mystery. It's not exactly thrilling, I would say, which is why I think I was a little disappointed. Also, the ending kind of dragged a little bit. I felt like the book could have been shorter, but I am interested in Ruth Ware, and again, with thrillers, I find it really hard to judge based on 1 or 2 of an author's work, because some things work, some things don't. One author could do this story as a 5 star, another one could do it as a 3, you know, like, it just all dependable. And I do have more interest in Ruth Ware's work. Hopefully I will get to some of them and bring you my thoughts, but yeah, this was just a 3 star. A good mystery if you're looking for it, but not very thrilling. The next thing I picked up was the Night Ghoul graphic novel, and I enjoyed this. The artwork was really good. I picked this up for a side quest for the magical readathon. The artwork was really good, but the problem I have with this is that the ghoul is kind of drawn like a spider, and I have the biggest phobia of spiders ever. I will cry like a little baby. I don't think I'm going to continue on with this because honestly the artwork of the ghoul just gives me the fucking creeps, and I don't want to look at spiders or spider resembling art because it just creeps me out. And I am very sad because I did like the story in this, but unfortunately I just can't. I can't do spiders, okay? I just can't. I can't do it. So unfortunately this was a good story, but I will not be continuing with this comic series. And if you're looking for kind of great artwork, dark storyline, and a very spider-like creature, then this is one that you should maybe pick up. And lastly, I read The Night Shift by Alex Finlay, and I loved this. I gave it 4.5 stars. This was really well done. I was going in as a most anticipated, so it had the potential to be a flop and not work for me because I was anticipating a lot. In The Night Shift, there is a massacre that happens in 1999 in a Blockbuster store. The nostalgia of having it at a Blockbuster store. I used to go down there on weekends, pick out my munchies, and all my like rom-coms. Step Up was one of them I got like once a month. Yeah, like I loved the fact that it was at a Blockbuster store. But there is a massacre here, and then we jump to the present day where there is a similar massacre at an ice creamery, and we are following the points of view of one of the survivors of the 1999 attack, the FBI agent, and the brother of the accused. And it's very interesting POV choice, but it works so well. There was 4 twists in this book. I guess none of them. It was written like so well. I highly recommend this. 4.5 star, almost a perfect thriller for me. But yeah, like I had so much fun with this, and I'm so glad I managed to squeeze it in on my April reading list because it wasn't on my TBR. Now we're going to go right into the card picks for May and the books I plan to read for these prompts. And the first card I picked for the month of May was to assign a top priority release, or a top priority book is what I meant to say. And for this card, I decided to go with In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. Again, as I said, I've been interested in picking up more of Ruth Ware's stuff, and I want to see if this author is for me, so I'm kind of taste testing all of their work because I want to read their new release, The It Girl, and I don't know whether to pre-order it because I haven't read enough of their work to know if I'm gonna enjoy it enough to justify a pre-order. So my plan is to read some of their backlist so that I can then decide if I want to pre-order the new release. I don't know much about this book, so I'm going to read you the blurb, not the blurb, the synopsis. Nora hasn't seen Claire for 10 years, not since the day Nora walked out of her old life and never looked back, until out of the blue an invitation to Claire's hen party arrives. A weekend in a remote cottage, the perfect opportunity for Nora to reconnect with her best friend, to put the past behind them. But something goes wrong, very wrong. And as secrets and lies unravel out in the dark, dark wood, the past will finally catch up with Nora. It sounds good, but because I've came off of the woman in cabin 10, I hope this is more thrilling than mystery because I want the thrilling aspect. But I am glad I'm getting to put this on my TBR because I just want to read thrillers because I'm in a very thrillery mood. So the next card I pulled was to assign another top priority read, and for this I'm going with Caitlin and the Highlander. This is mine and Sefe's buddy read for the month of May. Sefe is always linked down below. Their channel is What Is Effie, highly recommend, does some amazing videos and takes great content out with amazing discussions, so they will be linked down below. I highly recommend checking them out. This is the book we're going to be reading in the month of May. I don't know much about this apart from it's like an Outlander kind of esque book. I don't want to go in knowing too much simply because this is a Kindle Unlimited book and I know that it's going to be like smutty romance in the sense of Outlander, and that is all I really need to know for this one. And I am quite excited to read this one with Sefi because I believe we will have a lot of thoughts on this one, and yeah, like it sounds fun. It sounds like a fun time. The next card I picked was to read a book with academia, and it has to be horror or paranormal. And for this, I'm going with Confessions by Kine Minato, and this is the May's Literally Dead book club pick, so I'm happy I'm going to be able to read this and participate in the live show as it happens. This book sounds really good. I had never heard of it before, so when it came out as a Literally Dead book club pick, I looked it up and just listen to this synopsis because it sounds so good. When Yoko Morichi's 4-year-old daughter died at the middle school where she teaches, everyone thought it was a tragic accident. Now it's the last day of term and Yoko's last day at work. She tells her students she's resigned because of what happened, but not for the reasons they think. Her daughter didn't die in an accident. Her daughter was killed by 2 pupils in the class, and before she leaves, she has a lesson to teach. But revenge has a way of spinning out of control, and Yoko's last lecture is only the start of the story. In this best-selling Japanese thriller of love, despair, and murder, everyone has a confession to make and no one will escape unharmed. I want to know what this is about, so I want to know everything, so I cannot wait to pick this up. I am actually highly anticipating this, considering I only learned about it a couple of weeks ago. I am so glad I managed to get this on my TBR. The last card I picked was to read a book with a beautiful cover, and it has to be paranormal or horror. And can I just say, I struggled so hard to find a paranormal or horror book that I found beautiful that wasn't break the bank expensive, because all of them were really expensive, and I'm on a book buying ban, so even the Kindle books were really expensive. So I actually decided to go with Rebecca by Daphne Dune Courier. I probably said that wrong. This was gifted to me by Sephi, and to be honest, I don't know much about Rebecca. I know that a lot of people love it, and there is an adaptation. I don't know if it's a TV show adaptation or a movie adaptation, but all I really know about this, I don't actually know. I know nothing about this. Let's read this. On a trip to south of France, the shy heroine of Rebecca falls in love with Maxim de Winter, a wealthy, handsome widower. But as they arrive at Manderley, his Cornish mansion, a change comes over Max, and the young bride is filled with dread. Friendless in the isolated house, she realises that she barely knows the man she has married, and in every corner of every room is the phantom of his beautiful first wife, Rebecca. Oh, so it's like ghost story? I did not know. I am really excited to read this. I do love this edition of this book, so this is what I'm going with for this pick, and hopefully I will love it. But I've seen mixed reviews, so I'm not holding my hopes high, but I'm going in hoping for the best, and that is all I can really do. And lastly, we have to pick a punishment out of the punishment jar because I did not finish my TBR. Let's hope this punishment isn't really bad, because I don't want a really bad punishment. What should be read it? Let's see. Oh no. It's read Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. Okay. Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. If you can't tell, I have a lot of Cassandra Clare's work. I have enjoyed her work. Infernal Devices will always be superior to probably anything I've ever read from her. This, however, has been so hard for me. I've tried to read this twice. You can see these marks is as far as I've got. I just don't know what it is. I get to a certain point and then I just lose interest. Let's see. I think the furthest I've ever been is 276 pages. I didn't want to read this month. This is not what I wanted, but the thing is this is on my self-destruct pile, so if I do end up reading this and not getting through it again, then the best course of action is to just DNF it and unhaul it, because I mean, I've tried twice, I've DNF'd twice. Third time is the last time that I'm going to try and read this and continue on with the trilogy. I know a lot of people love this. I just can't seem to get my head around this one. unfortunately, and I do enjoy the Shadowhunter world. This one just hasn't worked for me. So I will be reading this month, and if I DNF it, I will be unhauling this and the 2 other books in the series, because there's no point keeping them if I can't even get through the first book. So that punishment did me really dirty. I wish I completed my TBR, but the problem is I wanted to vlog Falls Boys and I just didn't have the time. So it is what it is, I guess. It's so annoying because this looks like a really manageable stack of books. This is nothing, right? And Caitlin and I, Highlander, on top of this is still a pretty manageable stack of books. You see the difference this one book makes? It makes all the difference, right? Just like, it is what it is. I suppose it gives me a chance to finally get rid of this or finish this. Either way, I am excited for the other 4 books I have on my TBR, so it balances out. But that is it. That is what is on my TBR for May. And that is it. That is all I have for you. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember to give it a like and subscribe if you'd like to see more of my content. I try my best, but we are messy on this channel, so bear with me. I hope you have a great day, great weekend, great week, whenever you're watching this. Remember to stay safe, happy and healthy, and I will see you next time. Bye.